Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel, Say What's Real TV. Tonight is the 100th episode of Tyler Perry's Sistas. So we are sending out a big congratulations to the entire cast, the crew, and Tyler Perry. Keep reaching for more, you guys. Congrats again. This review is for Season 5, Episode 9, Pursuit for the Truth. So we open up the episode exactly where we left off last week, with Danny trying to explain to Andy what happened between her and Jonah and why she thinks she may have killed him. So Fatima comes back in to bring the water back, and Andy tells her to come back in because she can help out with the situation. So Fatima is like, well, what's up? So she learns that a guy spit on and put his hands on Danny, so she's like on go now, because she don't play that. As we remember in one of the earlier episodes, Fatima was all on a job getting ready to try to fight Gary, taking her earrings off and all that, because Gary called Andy a bitch. He didn't call Fatima a bitch, he called Andy a bitch. And guess what? Andy didn't give a damn, because she was hunching Gary the same night on her sofa. So I'm like, child, please. But anyway, Fatima says, it sounds like self-defense to me. And Danny was like, I think she's right. And so, of course, Andy is like, no, she's not right. And went to try to explain to her why it would not be self-defense. And Fatima was like, child, ain't nobody want to hear all of that. And so now Andy want to try to kick Fatima out the office now, because she's on the bout it side instead of the legal side of whatever. And Danny was like, oh no, she stays. So they all sit down, and Fatima's trying to figure out what's going on. So she's looking on her phone, trying to see if any accidents or anything have been reported, anything was on the news. She didn't find anything. So she's asking Danny a lot of questions, like, what time did this happen? What street does she live on? Trying to get a description of Jonah, anything. What is Jonah's last name? And Danny didn't know his last name at first, so she had to go in a little memory bank and try to figure out when she signed him in at the airport and came up with Jonah Scott. So Fatima took that information and went to call her contacts. So Fatima comes back in and she tells them that Jonah is not dead. He's in the hospital and has broken ribs, and apparently must have lied to the people and told them that he fell off of a motorcycle. So Danny was like, well, are you sure that it's him? Fatima says, well, that's what she said. Andy asked Fatima, well, how did you find out so fast? And Fatima looked at her like, girl, do you even have to ask? She's like, oh, your cousin? She was like, yes, she is the truth. Danny was like, oh, so he's all right. And Fatima was like, yeah, for now, but all you got to do is say the word and he won't be for long. And is like, no, trying to shut it all down because she already know what time it is. So Fatima was like, look, he spit on her and hit her and said, look here, Danny, I know I don't know you like that, but all you got to do is say the word. Danny was like, word. I was like, word. Here go Andy. No. I said, Andy, shut your ass up. So Fatima was like, girl, he spit on her. And Danny was like, in my face. Fatima said, girl, not your damn face. And went to frantically dialing them numbers like, oh, hell no, he got to go. So Andy basically was trying to calm the situation down, saying that this is problematic and there's no case since he's still alive. So she's trying to tell Fatima to go ahead and go back to work and all of that. And Fatima's like, child, whatever. She telling Danny, look, call me. I got all her contacts. And Danny looking at her like, sure will. So this the new Thelma and Louise here. They gonna be off the chain when them two hook up. So after Fatima leaves out of the office, we get Andy trying to have this heart-to-heart with Danny. And I appreciated Andy trying to be a friend. I thought that was something that Danny needed to hear. Maybe it's the wrong messenger. So I get Danny's point of view as far as how are you going to tell me anything when you still running around here chasing behind Gary's ragged ass. Like, you don't have your shit together. But what Andy was saying was, I liked it. I did like it. Because in the beginning of this whole entire series, I felt like Danny, not, I felt like Andy and Karen treated Danny like she was something on the bottom of their shoe, like they got their nose so far up in the air, like they were all of that or something, just because she doesn't have the things that they have or whatever. But, you know, I just didn't like how they kind of treated her before. So for her to say, "You're my best friend," that part I was kind of like, I didn't get that because, girl, no, you don't treat her like your best friend. You're just now starting to treat her like something. But we know Karen is your best friend. And that's cool. It's okay. But it's cool that you're there for her right now. So that's what counts. That's what matters. So Danny, she don't want to hear none of that shit. I guess she's listening, but she really not listening. It's falling on deaf ears in a sense, and she's basically asking her about Gary. She's telling her that Gary is trying to sue her, and she's trying to keep Gary calm. So she keeps saying what? By having sex with him? Like, and Andy is like, the sex is good. Like, I guess she's doing that because that's what she want to do. But the reason she's still dealing with him as if she trying to make it seem like she playing him. But we'll see, because we still don't know what you gonna do with the information you found in his jacket pocket. We ain't heard nothing about that yet. So what you gonna do with that, girl? But anyway, I did appreciate her talking to Danny. I mean, Danny didn't want to hear it, and I get it. But yeah, I thought Andy stepped it up a bit with that. So Fatima comes back in the office and hands Andy this file. Andy opens it up and is like, "Oh, so you pulled Jonah's whole file?" Fatima said, "And did." And the mofo got a whole bunch of charges against women. That's why he didn't call the police. So she was like, "And we going to have to put a stop to this so he won't do it again." And Andy trying to calm them down again, like, "Okay, girl, okay. Thanks for the information. I just outsource this." And Fatima like, "Okay." She basically kicking Fatima back out of the office. So Fatima telling Danny, call me. And it was like, "No, girl." And Danny was like, "And will." Like it's a done deal. It's a wrap. I'm calling. So we get this scene between Zach and Deja. Zach is trying to go in the house with his grocery bags, and Deja's trying to pretend like she wants to help him. So the two of them go back and forth with that. And she asks him about Madam and tells him he needs to be careful because she is notorious, in her words, and how her ex was found dead in a ditch or something, and that he does not have to worry about her trying to push up on his fine, sexy ass, even though it's gonna be hard. She not gonna push up on him, and how she ain't gonna never suck his thing, and he looking like, whoa. I'm like, "Zach, just take your ass in the house, child. Why is you still standing out there entertaining?" So she goes on and talk about, "Oh, the little apple of your eye just might be an orange because she come from a family full of killers and dealers." So she asked him, "Are they still engaged?" And he was like, "Yes." Not that it's any of your business. And she was like, "Yeah, I know it ain't my business, but she barely wear a ring, I don't know, one day she got it on, the next day she don't. I mean, it's pretty much given single. It's pretty much given outside." I'm like, girl, he tells her, he said, "What you say Madam look like again?" So she done described Madam real fast. So he pretended Madam was coming up behind her or whatever. So he start ducking and dodging and stuff, and her little crazy, scary ass done ran in the house. So the problem I had with Zach and Deja's scene is Deja bringing up the engagement. Now, we all know that they got engaged on Satima, but they have not mentioned on Sistas not one time that they are engaged. Now, just last week, Zach made it seem like he was going to take Fatima out to dinner or something and maybe propose. Who knows? We don't know what that was about because we haven't got to that yet. But for her to mention that the way it was, it seemed like the clip was edited into the episode. And maybe they forgot that part or something because it just did not go with the rest of the episode. It didn't go with any other part of the season so far. Now, it just didn't, I didn't like it. I feel like if they were already engaged, something should have already been said. Andy would have probably seen the ring already. I felt like Fatima should have wore it to Karen house when she showed up over there and read her for filth about popping up and calling her a bitch and all of that. She would have had the ring on then. That would have been perfect. But that didn't happen. So I didn't understand the scene between Deja and Zach and why that was mentioned right there. So we head over there to Karen's house, and we know that Mama Lisa told Aaron to go over there to take care of her. He gets over there. The two of them got on their matching stripes. He come in there with this damn overnight bag, big duffel bag or whatever, talking about he getting ready to move in. Karen looking at him like, no hell you're not. She done told him like 30 times in a matter of 5 minutes that her friend's getting ready to come over there to take care of her. And he's like, well, do you want me to leave? And she know goddamn well she don't want him to leave. So, but she does tell him that she knows about the whole hospital thing and how he used his friend at the hospital to get information and told him don't do that again. He's like, yeah, my bad, my bad. So they have a seat and she's like, well, do you want to talk about last night? And I'm like, talk about last night for what, Karen? Why everybody keep wanting to talk about last night? Everything that was said was needed to be said. You basically told him to his face that you didn't want to be bothered, that he wasn't it, that he was the right man but at the wrong time. He told you he was going to sit and wait on you regardless of what you said. So what is there to talk about? He's a damn fool. So what we talking about? So you gonna bring up this damn article about going through a man's phone and how to tell a lot about him. Basically, girl, just ask the man for the phone. I don't know why you want the phone because you don't want the man. So why are we going through all of this? So the two of them go back and forth. I don't want the phone. You sure? I don't. Look, oh my God. He ends up giving her the phone. He says he's getting ready to go cook or whatever. He has steak and chicken. Of course, Karen, she doesn't want steak and chicken because, you know, how Karen, you know, she's all of that. She wants damn pasta. That's not an option. So this fool agrees to go get the pasta, some ragged ass angel hair pasta at that, and leaves the phone with her. So she gets all excited because he done gave her the passcode and left the phone. So Karen sits there with the phone all in disbelief and awe like, oh, wow, I can't believe he left his phone. And she says, oh, Zach would have never did anything like this. And I'm like, girl, why are you even bringing Zach's name up? Because the gag is Zach has already done that. And he's done it with Fatima. A man is going to change for the woman they're ready to change for. And you were not it for Zach. So appreciate Aaron's aggravating ass because he already told you he is going to sit there and wait on you to come to him and be with him or whatever like a goddamn fool. So, you know, you better open your eyes and realize what you have in the present and stop worrying about your past before it's too late. So after Danny was talking to Andy, I guess she was listening and took heed and decided to call Preston. He was happy to hear from her anyway, and she wanted to talk. He said he'll be on the next plane smoking, and she was like, no, can you drive instead? I'm guessing since she done rammed her car all up into Jonah's car, they're going to need a way to get around. But she told them they'll meet up later on, but they're going to meet outside of the house, not inside. So Preston's on his way back, y'all. So Q comes up to Danny trying to have small talk. So he's flirting with her and telling her how fine she is and all of this. And Danny basically says, I'm not in the mood. And that's my thing with Danny. Why did you even go to work? I'm still trying to figure out why you went to work in the first place, because there is no way you could have had that type of night that you had all the way to 3, 4 in the morning just to go stand up in that damn airport like that all damn day long. Girl, I would have been calling in so goddamn fast. No ma'am. So Q, he takes heed and he steps to the side. And when he steps to the side, we see Jonah. And we see the look on Danny's face like she shook. And I'm like, girl, are you hallucinating? Because we know you ain't get much sleep last night. Are you sleepy? But when Q saw Jonah, I said, oh, Lord, what's getting ready to happen? Jonah, he sent his ass there with one crutch and some broken ribs. And I'm like, wait a minute, hold up. So this one I got aggravated because I'm like, wait, he done got smashed all up in the car, beat up with this stick in the pole or whatever it was. Broken glass should have been shattered all in his face. And you trying to tell me that there's not one scratch or scar nowhere on his face? This man face so clear, he could be doing a damn Noxzema commercial. I mean, face smoother than a baby's behind. I mean, come on now. And how the hell he walked his raggedy ass all through the airport terminal with broken ribs after being slammed, after his body got slammed all up in the car like that? That one crutch ain't gonna do a goddamn thing for him. So that, come on now, come on. But we'll move on. We will move on. So he sits there with this evil look on his face, looking at Danny, staring at Danny like, I'm going to get your ass. I'm going to get you. But Danny, she plays it cool. So Q notices how Jonah is staring at Danny. So he goes up to Danny like, you know this dude? Like, why is he looking at you like that? And Danny really not trying to get into all that. She trying to like, deter him from whatever. So child, Q didn't give a damn. Q goes over to Jonah anyway, like, what's up? What you here for? What you need? Jonah's like, who are you? He said, I work here. Q proceeds to tell him how he's on house arrest, shows him the ankle monitor, tells him he looking to get fired. Like, and basically letting him know, I'm ready to beat a bitch ass, so what's up? And what are you doing here? So Jonah ends up telling him he's waiting on his child. And Q goes back to Danny, tells him, he said he's waiting on his child, and Danny looks it all up in the computer and sees that a young unattended child is on the flight that's coming in. So the two of them go back and forth or whatever about why he did that, and he's telling her about if he quits, then he'll get arrested. But if he gets fired, I guess he won't get arrested. I still don't understand the whole logic, but the whole thing of it is, when Danny finds out that Q is the reason Maurice and Sabrina are in jail, that's gonna be epic. Now, I can't wait to see that. I cannot wait to see that. But they do all of that, and Danny ends up telling him she's just not in the mood for none of that crap today, and he walks off or whatever, and we see Jonah still staring at Danny like, I'm gonna get your ass. So Karen calls Andy, I guess to let her know her man Aaron left her his phone, and she been going through it for over an hour and can't find any kind of drama. And, she admits she looking for the drama, but there is none there. And Andy was like, well, maybe it's because of all the years with Zach when she was finding stuff in the phone, but whatever, child. So my thing was, where the hell Aaron went to go find some angel hair pasta at that is taking him over an hour to go and look for it? Like, child, please, if he don't bring his ass back. But child, she says, did your little friend tell you what happened last night talking about Fatima? And Andy like, look, I'm not even getting ready to get into all that. I have nothing to do with that, so we moving the conversation along. Karen was like, well, are you guys coming to see me? And Andy was like, well, who is y'all? Like, who are you talking about? I know it'll be me and Danny. And Karen was like, well, Sabrina's not answering my phone calls. So Karen is starting to realize something must be going on with Sabrina, because, it's not likely for her to do all that. So Andy, she's stumbling and stammering, talking about, I'll call her later on. And Karen was like, well, call on the three-way real quick. And Andy was like, ooh, girl, I gotta go. And Karen said, uh-huh. So Andy hangs up with her, and she was like, what is going on? So Fatima and Andy, they're both leaving work. Fatima looks over, and she sees Heather sitting there, and Heather was like, sitting there smiling and shit. Fatima like, what are you doing here? And she's like, oh, I know you saw the DNA test results, right? I'm here to see my lawyer. She was like, well, who is your lawyer? And as she's asking her that, here comes Hayden's raggedy ass introducing himself to Heather. And she's like, how do you spell your name and all of this, and spelling it wrong. And I'm like, oh my God. So Hayden tells Fatima how he ended up trying to represent Heather in the first place, claiming somebody at Chain Breakers came to him and said some stripper needed help with her baby daddy, and come to find out it was Zach, and he was going to jump on the chance when he heard it was Zachary Taylor. And he told Fatima that your man getting sued, and Fatima was like, "You're not even a family attorney." Hayden was like, "I'm going to be whatever it is I need to be to make sure your man get locked up." And I'm like, first of all, just because you get sued, that don't mean you're going to jail. Zach has the money to pay whatever kind of back child support need to be paid and continue to pay on time, if indeed he is truly the father, because we know that Fatima used the company's lab to do the test results. Hayden also works at this same company and has access. We know he liked to dig all into computer and all that. Hayden probably went in and did something with the results, if you ask me, trying to make it all like some outside thing. But we already know Tyler good for that, because we watched if Loving You was wrong when Randall and Brad and all that. We saw how all that played out with that baby situation. So it's possible Hayden rigged up something in that lab in the results. So we'll see. So he walks off and left Fatima standing there fuming. Danny and Andy, they're at the jail now finally, and Danny is asking that she look official, because Danny lied to the people and told them that Danny was her paralegal, because technically she's not even supposed to be back there. So the two of them are going back and forth about it being illegal, and Andy's talking about she's never committed a crime before, and child, the two of them have their little banter back and forth. So Sabrina finally walks in, and we finally, after all these episodes, we see Sabrina. She sits down, she's chained up, and Danny makes a comment like, "Damn, they got you chained up and all that shit." And she's like, I know, it's bad. So they're sorry for her. They tell her that they're sorry, and they ask her if she's okay. She's like, no, she's not good. She's like, she doesn't even know why she's in there, which is crazy. So she asks them, do they know anything? And Andy ends up telling her that Maurice, the guy that Maurice was with, which we know is Q, has a recording of Maurice saying that him and Sabrina were the ones that set up the whole bank robbery. And, immediately Sabrina is getting, frustrated or whatever, like she can't believe it. So you could tell the frustration is coming through with Sabrina. So she's like, she can't believe what's happening. They keep telling her that they're going to get her out of there, and she wants to know how. And she's like, the people in jail are mean. They cut her hair. She doesn't even know why she's in there. She doesn't want them to tell her mom anything. So she ends up asking Andy, has she spoken to Robin to try to help get her out? And Andy can't tell her that Robin said no, because he's like, he's done doing all his favors. So basically she told her that your case is federal and it's a little different. So she's still upset about it, but they still keep trying to reassure her that they're going to do everything that they can do to try to get her out. So in walks John Williams. He's the prosecutor on the case. So he introduces himself. He looks at Andy and was like, "Oh, so you don't remember me, right?" And she was like, "I can't say that I do." And he was like, "Well, you represented my ex-wife in a divorce," which, of course, Andy apparently won the case for the wife. So he's apparently still bitter about that. So he takes Andy outside. They step outside to talk. He basically lets Andy know that he knows that Sabrina is her friend and wants to know how can she try to defend her case when she is not that type of lawyer. And she was like, "Oh, I got plenty of other lawyers at my firm." She was like, "Yeah, I see." And he goes on this little spiel about how his ex-wife is getting all his money or whatever and got a boyfriend living in the house and don't want to get married because he's still paying all the alimony. And so he's still salty. He's very salty about the divorce. Andy is like, "Can we just stick to talking about Sabrina and talk about bail?" And he was like, "She's not getting out. There's no bail. Judge Ross is not letting her out." And basically he let her know that, look, I'm looking to give her the max, which is 30 years. Andy is shocked like, Oh my God. So now this fool is trying to give Sabrina a whole 30 years just because he is salty and bitter. And truth be told, Andy is not even her lawyer, but I guess now that just because he knows that she is associated with Sabrina, he's going to do everything he can to be a thorn in our side. Congratulations again to the entire cast and crew for their 100th episode celebration. Thank you guys for watching and listening to me, and I'll catch you next week on the next episode. Peace.